Well, good afternoon out there, folks. Rooster in Tennessee, roostercb.com, and an item going up for sale that we will list on the website first. And if we don't get any attention on it there, then I'll eventually put it up to eBay. The website, of course, being roostercb.com. And this is one of MFJ's. I'm not sure if it's their most expensive one or one of their most expensive antenna tuners. Now, for those that don't know, MFJ is out of business, is going out of business, basically liquidating their stuff and basically running on whatever they have left available for the foreseeable future here. So there's not being any more of this stuff made. Um, unless somebody comes out of nowhere and buys the company or something like that. But this one in particular, you guys can look it up for yourself. I believe it was about $550 to $600 before shipping when it was brand new. So one of their higher end antenna tuners and maybe their most expensive one. This one is a legal limit. And for those that don't know, that's a reference to the ham radio legal limit. So rated at 1500 watts and has a lot of features on it for antenna tuner. Now you might be wondering what the heck is the purpose of this thing if you don't know. Well, a lot of you guys tend to like to talk elsewhere besides CB. Maybe you like to travel into the 10-meter band and do some free banding, or maybe you like to travel elsewhere. Some of you guys talking down 24, 25 megahertz, 26 megahertz, 30 megahertz, stuff like that. The issue with that is most of our CB antennas, and I say that most, aren't going to be very broad banded. As a matter of fact, even your wider banded antennas, something like an OWA style beam, more than likely you're only going to get about 120 channels out of that. So, basically if you tuned it for channel 20, you're probably going to get 60 to 80 channels on each side of channel 20 before your SWR starts to climb at a pretty rapid pace. Now, other antennas are even worse than that. You can only get about 15, 20 channels out of. Some, if they are built for a specific frequency and designed for that frequency, you're lucky to get 3 to 5 channels of a low SWR or a good tune. Your impedance will start to go crazy and your SWR will as well. Hence, the need for an antenna tuner. Now, myself, I have never used an antenna tuner because I'm one of those guys that talks on just a handful of channels. Tune the antenna, build the antenna for the channels I'm going to talk on, and let it rip. However, not everybody's that way. So that brings in the need for an antenna tuner. And what you can do with the antenna tuner is basically it's a matching device that once your SWR and your impedance start getting out of range for your antenna, you can tune it in using the controls on this antenna tuner. And I've got my analyzer hooked up here to kind of demonstrate that for you guys that don't really see how it works or don't understand how it works. We're essentially going to be tuning this thing for the lowest SWR. And just like tuning a tube top amplifier, you'll bounce back and forth between the tuners until you reach peak output. Sometimes you have to cycle through them a few times. With this one, it was way off when I hooked it up. It was tuned for, I don't know what frequency, but it was not tuned for CB or 11 meter. So I would have to get the SWR as low as I could on this side, and then come over here, get the SWR as low as I could over here. And that took many, many cycles between going through all the tuners here on the front, and eventually got it down here to a nice tune. So I'll show you guys. We can see it's bouncing between a 103 and a 104. See here. Make sure it stays active there so you can see how it kind of reacts when we turn our tuner. And when you're doing this on one of these, you don't have to crank it. It's not a crank it way left, crank it way right. You're just going to very easily turn. And you guys see me turn it to the right, it already started going up a little bit. And we can get it way out of whack, and you see just by turning it, just ever so slightly there, we're already back up to a 1-2. Well, we don't want a 1-2. We'd rather get it down to, a 1-0 something the way we had it. So we're just going to turn it to the left back from where it came. Back down below a 1-1, as you guys see. That's pretty much would make anybody happy to have a SWR like that. Oh, we went too far? Yep, we went too far, so we're going to come back the other way. And it can be kind of tedious if you're wanting to perfect it and get it to the absolute lowest. As you see, I'm having a hard time getting it back to as low as we had it. You know, but a lot of people are not going to care. They're going to be like, oh, 106, that's good enough. 105, whatever. And then you can, of course, after you do it there, you can come over here to your other one. And you're going to tune it until you get it the lowest. But you guys see, it can be very, very touchy. It's not something that you're going to have to just sit here and crank the knobs on. You're going to fine tune it in. But that's how it works. This one's got several different hookups for coax on it. So I'll show you guys the back of it. I'll probably pause the video and show you guys the back. It also has a watt meter on it. I haven't tested the meter, but I can double check it before I send it out to somebody. Or heck, we may pause the video here at the end and make sure that it works. We're on coax 1 right now, so we'll just remember that our dummy load's hooked up to coax 1. Now, obviously, we don't have anything hooked up to coax 2, so if we go over to it, our SWR goes to the moon. And I guess it has a built-in dummy load as well. So, yep, there you go. So yeah, when we go to the built-in dummy load, look, 1-1 on the built-in dummy load. Go back to coax 1, which is our bird dummy load, and it's below a 1-1. And we could get that one back down low enough if we want to sit here and fine tune it in. But that's the way it works, guys. Some people say an antenna tuner is BS. You're just tricking your antenna. You're just tricking your radio. Yes and no. Ideally, yes, you would want to use your antenna, tune the antenna to the proper frequency, not use an antenna tuner. But not everybody can afford or has the room to put up, 4 or 5 different antennas to talk on all the different bands that they want to talk on. Or not everybody has a multi-band beam that is capable of talking on different frequencies. So what do you have to do? You have to make a sacrifice, make a compromise, and use an antenna tuner to keep from burning your radio equipment up. Because I can't tell you how many times I've seen people that like to talk. We used to have some guys that would talk 80 channels below a regular 40, and they stayed blowing stuff up. Well, that's because they had a dosimeter and they thought their SWR was good. The dosi was lying to them. They didn't have an antenna analyzer, and they'd have like a decent SWR on regular 40, a 1.2 to a 1.3. And as soon as they went 80 channels below regular 40, guess what? Their SWR was like a 2. And the way they could have prevented that is they could have had this antenna tuner and tuned it for that frequency that they like to talk to that wasn't on regular 40. And when they went down there, they could have used their antenna tuner and saved their equipment. Yes, it's probably going to hurt. The antenna is not going to perform as well somewhere where it's out of tune versus somewhere where it is in tune. But at the end of the day, you can use one of these and save your equipment from being exposed to that high SWR and a high amount of reflected power. So I guess what I'll do here is I'll pause the video and we'll hook it up to a radio and check the meter out on the front of it, see if the meter works, and then I'll pause it again and we can look at the back side of it. I don't have it. It's got a power hook up on the back, and I don't have the power lead hooked up to it right now. You don't have to have it powered to use the tuner side of it. So obviously you guys can see that from the video. We don't have anything hooked up, any electricity hooked up to it, and the tuners and stuff, they work just fine. They don't require to be powered up. So let me pause the video and we'll be right back. Okay, guys, so here's the back of it. I was unsuccessful getting the meter to respond on the front. So the meter may be in op or may just be stuck and need freed up where it hasn't been used. But here's the back of it. Two SO239s. Transmitter is going to go to your radio or your amp. So this is going to be your antenna hookups here, and then, or you're coming from your watt meter or whatever. And then your that jumper is going to go to your radio or your amp. And then I think I have one of those little cords that plugs in there to power up the light for the meter. But then you have your other lines over here for your long wires, or whatever you decide to run. But that's it. Again, unfortunate couldn't get the meter to work. Maybe you can if you want to fiddle with it. We'll make somebody a good deal on it. Like I said, these are pretty dang high dollar when they were brand new, and they're not making them anymore. And keep in mind, it's going to come. Built-in dummy load is worth something as well, along with the bonus of having the antenna tuner. So there you guys go. Let me know what you think. Questions, comments, shoot me a text, 423-299-3535. Otherwise, this one will be getting listed up on the website, roostercb.com. Thanks, everybody. See you. Bye.